What's up you guys, hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now I love this series, like it's so relevant and every time I finish a video I'm just shooketh. I'm like, do these people really exist? Are you all really out there? Cause you're creepy as Before we get into it, make sure you guys check out Top 10 Central for more content involving yours truly and a few other familiar faces. Anyway you guys, you loved part 1 and 2 and here I am with the top 10 scary Tinder experiences part 3. Starting us off at number 10 is the drunk. Never a good look to show up to a Tinder date drunk, I'm just saying. Now this one's from Reddit at 1000miles319 and this is shocking. So the user decides to go on a beach date with this Tinder guy and they agree to carpool there with him driving. Fair enough, we like a gentleman who offers to drive. As soon as she gets in the car, he starts blasting heavy metal music and boasts about how rich he is. The date finishes and it went horribly, and on the way home the guy starts drinking a bottle of Captain Morgan. Now the user tells him she doesn't want him to drink and drive and he just laughs her off and drinks even more. She shared in the post that she lived in a gated community where you can't just pass through if you're not known by someone, and that she doesn't like confrontation, so she just didn't know how to tell the guy that she just wanted to go home. She decided to just stop talking on the day as they drove and he just spent 30 minutes poking her. After he drops her off to her car and she's on her way home, she realizes a car is following her and it turns out it was the Tinder guy. Good move from the user here. She stops at a CVS, tells the cashier she's being followed and asks if she can wait in their bathroom until he leaves. Eventually the cashier tells her he's gone, but turns out he was just waiting in another parking lot. And I love how this isn't even a rare occurrence. I've been followed by guys in cars multiple times back home when I've been driving, and even in Toronto just walking. It is not okay. Coming in at number 9 is the weird request. This one was from Redditor Proximus Pylon, who shared this Tinder date took place in Fort McMurray. During the date he said she dropped in casually that she thought knives were sexy. Weird flex, but okay. She then proceeded to get blackout drunk during dinner and kept begging him to murder her and then bury her in the forest. They somehow ended up dating for 2 years. I mean, should I say that on my next date? Is that what gets people going? This is not a Joe Goldberg situation from you. No. At number 8 we have He Who Will Not Be Ghosted. Getting ghosted sucks, let's be real. I've been ghosted so many times in the last month I can't even tell you guys. Now the struggle is real and I hate cuffing season, so there's that. Anywho, this one was shared by Victorious Cabaret on Reddit and she said that she went on a date with this guy and they ended up at a restaurant. Turns out the guy, and I quote, had the personality of a styrofoam packing peanut. After the date she figured she would just ghost him because they'd only gone on 2 dates and never even kissed. So she ignored his calls and texts for a week, but he wasn't gonna take this ghosting lightly. Mans showed up to her house and started hammering her buzzer and continuously calling her. What made it worse was that this guy literally did not even know her last name, didn't know where she lived, let alone what suite number she was, yet he somehow figured it out and showed up. How the hell did he even find any of that out? Creep. Filling on number 7 slot is oversharing. This one was shared by Reddit user My Wagon, and she said she once went on a Tinder date with the creepiest guy. He started off by telling her that women should be escorted to the grocery store so they can keep their eyes on the prize rather than spending $200 on random things. He then failed to see how that was insensitive and then went on to get drunk and tell her how his dad physically and psychologically abused him. He ended the story with telling her that his dad eventually stabbed him as well. There was no second date. Now at number 6 is the accident. Okay, admittedly this one made me laugh quite a bit. It was shared by Redditor Josh T. Bone, who said he went on a date with this guy off Tinder and things were going well. They usually start off going well and then go horribly wrong. His date finally leaned in to kiss him and a few seconds later he pulled away saying it feels really warm in my underwear for some reason. And the user started getting whiffs of what could only be described as a baby diaper. The date then ran to the bathroom and turns out he had shat himself mid-kiss and was going commando for the rest of the night. Like, I'm curious if that happened to your date, what would you just end it there? Would you continue the date? Like, how do you even react? Like, I'm sure you have to be understanding in the moment, but like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Coming in at number 5 is See Ya, Wouldn't Wanna Be Ya. Now this one is short and sweet and was shared by Redditor PointandPull69, and the experience was actually his friend's, not his own. He shared that his friend isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, and so he picked up his Tinder date and they went to a motel. Already kinda dingy, but okay, no judgment. As they're walking up, she tells him that she forgot her purse in his car and that she just wanted to quickly run and grab it. Seems harmless enough. But wait. So he gives her the keys and tells her he'll meet her up there. 5 minutes go by, then 10 minutes go by. He goes out to see where she is and turns out she ended up stealing his car and driving away, living happily ever after. I mean, you snooze, you lose, buddy. At number 4 is Daddy's Girl. This one was shared by Redditor Corner Casserole 007, who said she went on a sushi date with this Turkish guy from Tinder that she'd been talking to for a few weeks. It was going well, but then his psycho switch turned on and he started telling her that she couldn't wear nail polish once they started dating because it creeped him out holding hands with a girl who wore nail polish. Okay. He then got weirder and told her that he had always wanted a daughter who he would freeze at the age of 4 so she would never grow up and always be a daddy's little girl and like no other guy but him. Which I feel like is a very weird type of incestuous pedophilia. Just saying. Filling our number 3 slot is the Pretzel. This one's from Redditor A-Cats, and honestly this date seemed so wholesome to begin with, and then it really did go horribly wrong. But like sort of in a cute way, but not really. So she invited this Tinder guy to the zoo, and shortly after arriving the dude got hungry and decided to get a pretzel, which I could really go for right now as well if I'm honest. I'm bloody hungry. Anyway, as he was eating it, he accidentally nearly bit his tongue clean off. He started bleeding for the next few hours and continuously spitting out blood. Half his tongue was puffy and swollen, and to be honest, it looked gross. He then, for some reason, unbeknownst to me, tried eating a hamburger after that, and the look of pain in his eyes just said it all. He then, I don't know why, tried to kiss the user with his bloody mouth, which she thankfully got out of. Now at number 2 is the Paranormal Date Part 1. This one's from Redditor Wid89, who shared that he went on a Tinder date with a super private woman. This woman would not tell him her last name, where she worked, nothing like that, but the day was actually going really well. At the end of the date, she confessed that she had to tell him something. Turns out she had moved into a new apartment alone and felt like some sort of sinister presence lived there with her. She'd been having horrible nightmares and seeing weird things around the house and asked if he would sleep over to keep her company. He agreed, and then they got home, and as soon as he got there, he could tell something was very off about the apartment. They got into bed, no sex, and then she soon fell asleep. A while later, the user was still awake and he heard someone walking down the hallway outside the room. Scared, he went to investigate but found nothing. He went downstairs, back upstairs, and as he was going back to the bedroom, he saw this short black humanoid figure in the corner of the hallway. He bolted it back to his date's bedroom, and it got worse from there. As if that wasn't bad enough. And finally, at number 1 is the Paranormal Date Part 2. Now turns out his date wasn't even in her bed, she was nowhere to be found. He called out to her but got no response, and he was so just confused. He had just searched the whole apartment and had not run into her, so where the hell could she have been? The bed was too low so she wasn't under it, the window was locked so she didn't just go out there. He just ended up grabbing all his stuff and leaving the apartment in nothing but his underwear. Good call, I would have done the same. I wouldn't even have looked for her. I'd been like, nah B, bye, you handle that on your own. The next day he found that her Tinder profile had been deleted and she never responded to any of his texts, nor did he see her ever again. And that's it for today's video, guys. Tinder just gets creepier and creepier by every video I do in this series. Admittedly, I still have it. Don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. We'll probably not go on a date because look at how these ones turned out. Let me know if you guys have had any bad experiences of your own in the comments below. As always, I'm your host Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. And it turns out to be the Tinder guy.
I've been doing that lately. It's on the verge of dying. The first slot of the day, it literally goes off like
really?
6 times in a row.
Because she can wait in their bathroom until he leaves. And I love how this isn't even a rare... And I love how this isn't even a rare occurrence. I've been followed by guys...
Jesus Christ.
Should we just leave it off? Like, what do we do?
No, you need it pretty much. But...
Can you scroll up a bit?
Yeah.
Oh no. And I love how this isn't even a rare occurrence. I've been followed by... So this one was from Reddit, Proximus...
It's never happened this much this late in the day. I think it's like on the verge of dying. Like
Yeah?
a day or two, he's gonna be dead.
I feel like it's gonna die today.
Might be.
She then proceeded to get blackout drunk during dinner and kept begging him to murder her, and then